Greetings, Israel. It's your brother, DFG, Judah. Hey, brothers and sisters. A couple of things that I want to share, and then I want to address a question that one of our dear brothers asked of me, and then we're going to be done. Praise Yahuwah. But before that, for the Bible study, as my brothers and sisters know, Yah willing, we try to do a Bible study message after the Bible studies. And Abba Yah blessed us with a fantastic Bible study this past Wednesday. And Yah willing, on Shabbat tomorrow, we'll do the breakdown, of that study. In addition to that, remember we have a new call-in number. Some of my brothers and sisters may or may not know that. I'm not sure by now. But if you don't know, we have a new call-in number, updated, thanks to Brother Mendez and support of some of you all. If you're supporting this channel, then everything that we do from a technology standpoint, that's advancement, you are part of that credit because we utilize the resources that my brothers and sisters sacrifice to support this work that we're doing in these last days for our people. And because of your kindness and your thoughtfulness and your willingness to share those who can, we were able to get an updated number with a lot of fancy little addendums or benefits. And, we're very excited about it. But that busy signal and all of those things, and some of my brothers and sisters were having trouble calling in. And I know that could have been frustrating. And maybe some of you have said, that's a little bit too much of an effort. Although it shouldn't be, but I understand if you felt that way. No judgment here. But that's all been cleared up now, and we got a good line with a lot of perks and a lot of benefits. And as we learn those things, then we will be sharing those things with my brothers and sisters. And just, if you have a pen, whenever you see your brother, these are two of the requirements. We go to work on this channel, all right? This is not an entertainment channel. This is an information educational channel, according to what Abba Yah has put upon this servant's heart. But that number is toll-free, is 516-597-9598. And now, if you're outside of the United States, if it asks you for a passcode, and only if you're outside of the United States, you may be prompt to do that. If you're in the United States, no passcode needed, you can dial right in. But if you're outside of the U.S., then that passcode is 143689. If you remember, the old passcode was 143688. One digit changed, the last digit, it went from 688 to 689 pound. Okay? So just so you're up to speed on that. Now, that being said, I want to come back to the question that was asked by Brother Muhammad. And Brother Muhammad, I'm going to do the best I can with this. Some of this is just going to be from the heart and what I believe and what I feel. And then I'm going to go to the book, Brother Muhammad, just so that, we have the book, to back up, some of these behaviors. And I really believe when we get through this, and we're going to be reading Jeremiah 29, brothers and sisters. But I do believe that inside of this, we'll find maybe not the perfect answer, Brother Muhammad, but I thank Abba Yah, and I trust Abba Yah, that at least he'll give us some insight that you can share with some of our, younger brothers and sisters, and maybe open their eyes, or at least challenge them to consider. Remember, Isaiah warned us about not considering. Remember, he said the ox knows its master, and the ass is master's crib, or its owner. The ox knows its owner, and the ass is master's crib. But Israel, that's a people. That's you. That's, those, we are the chosen. He says that we are not taking the time to consider, brothers and sisters. And so to the young brothers and sisters out there, those of you who, for whatever reason, have gone a different way in regards to the Torah and Yahuwah, this message hopefully will give you something that at least you'll take away. And as Brother Muhammad, if he shared it with you, and for those of you who are not a part of Brother Muhammad's, people that he loves and he wants to have informed, well, then you're part of our love, and we want you to be informed as well, okay? But his question was, why are some of our young people, so attracted to Islam? And I thought that was a very good question. And here's the elders' take on that. First of all, our young people are a lot smarter than their parents and parents and parents were. Now, that's not a dig at our parents. Our parents only knew what they knew, and they knew no more. So, they were taught, brought up, trained, for the most part, if they're Judah in America, they were brought up under some form of Christianity, whether it's Protestant, whether it's Catholic, Pentecostal, non-denominational, holiness, what have you. And there they were seeking and hoping to find their redemption. And they didn't know what they did not know. And so they sought Abba Yah, unfortunately, in the darkness. But then Abba Yah knew their hearts, and that's why many of us are here. And I want to point that out to a lot of my brothers and sisters, the older brothers and sisters who said, no, I had a grandmother who I know, they didn't know the truth, Brother DFG, but I know they loved Elohim. Well, then I want you to consider this. Your walk is their walk. And maybe Abba Yah is using you as a gateway for them. So don't forget that. And there's a book here to back that up. We're not going to get into that today. But we're going to talk about today is why our young people are walking away. And I'll tell you, in my personal opinion, our children, the children of this time, are wiser than their parents. So there's no way that the young people today, with all the information that's out here, are going to buy into a white savior. All brown one, or black one, whatever color, man decides to paint on them. Let me say this, a white Christian savior. The Jesus narrative. Whether you want to call him, Yahushua or whatever name you have, our young people are looking at it and saying, well, wait a minute. As I look at the etymology of this thing, because that's how they're looking at it. This concept, this hoodwink, this mass deceiver that my parents, for whatever reason, don't have eyes to see, or maybe they're just so entrenched in it, they've been there so long, they refuse to open up their eyes to see. I can see. And so a lot of our young people, Brother Muhammad, are taking the approach that, hell no, I'm not following no white man no damn where. Or no heathen nowhere. In other words, they're looking for Elohim who looks like them. Or Elohim that they can, what you would say, Elohim that they can look at at a history that reflects them, or that they're inside of that history. And when they're looking at Islam, Islam presents that. Because Islam comes with a history. Although we know it's not Israel's history. It's another history. Some of it is Ismail, some are others. But we know it's not the chosen. This is not the history for them. But because they're seeking the truth, they're not heathens in terms of non-believers. And so what they're doing, my brother, and for you young people who are in Islam, what your elder is saying to you, I understand why you're there. But I want you to understand also, that's not where you ought to be. That's not what our Creator created you to be. You are an Israelite. And yes, you have a very rich history. I know you went to Islam because Islam presents all of Africa and all of the kings of Africa, all the dynasties of Africa, all of the royalty of Africa, the motherland, as they say. Well, unless Abba Yah forgot about the other 6 continents, I would have to tell you, young people, all of this earth belongs to our Creator, not just Africa, as it's called today. But I would say to you, my young people, again, your brother, your elder, those who love you, like Brother Muhammad, we're concerned for your well-being. But at the same time, we understand, we respect you. We respect the fact that at least you're not drinking what we call the Kool-Aid. In other words, you're just not, you're not just jumping in because that's what mama believed and grandmama believed, or that's what daddy believed and granddaddy believed. And I commend you. We tip our hat to you, for that. Because you're not going to be, easily persuaded. But in all of that information and all of that, respect and honor I give to you, I want to tell you that it's still the wrong way. Islam is not the way for you. Now, if you're an African, a Canaanite, a Hamite, maybe Japhet, others, then that's totally different. And their gods are their gods. Whether that be Abraham or whether that be Muhammad or whether that be Allah, whatever they're doing over there. That's their entities. Amun-Ra and all of those gods that we've talked about on this channel before, those are deities. But they are African deities. And you're not African, dear brothers and sisters. Those of us who are Israel, we're Israelites. We're the chosen people. We're the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Or royal we were so royal. If you were part of our Bible study, we're going to talk about this on tomorrow. When Israel, our forefather, Israelites, when he died, they buried him in a solid gold coffin. They had a gold crown on his head. They had a golden sepulcher in his hand. Kings all over the land came to celebrate your king, your forefather, young brothers and sisters. Those of you who are over in Islam, your history is far richer than any history of I'm going to tell it to you straight, heathens. See, all heathens are not, of Esau, Edom, non-melanated Nephilims. Those are the seed of the fallen. They're not even spiritual beings. They don't have a soul. They're spiritualists. But for the melanated ones, the dark ones, that's not your group. If you can track your ancestry to the slave plantations, if you can track your ancestry to the islands, if you can track your ancestry to Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, South Africa, some still in Egypt, and many other regions, because we were scattered everywhere, young brother and sister. We were not limited to just Africa. Africa was a place of bondage for us. Your ancestors were slaves in Africa, which later became Islam or Islamic Muslims. See those Arabs out there that are in many of our communities? For the most part, that's their people. They are affiliated with that group. That's why they have a little melanin in them, not as much as you have, and surely not as rich as you are. But that's their people. And by the way, those Arabs, they were enslavers. They were the ones who enslaved you and I, your ancestors, our ancestors. They were the reason that we were scattered all over the earth, because Abba had to scatter us because they would have slaughtered us had he kept us in one place. Because we were all together in one place. Yes, in Africa, but not African. We were in Africa, young brothers and sisters, but we were not Africans. We were Israelites who had been run out of our region of the earth into Africa because of the mass slaughter of our ancestors. And we landed in places like Nigeria before Nigeria was called Nigeria. Nigeria, before it was called Nigeria, was called Negro land. In Negro, Igbo, Hebrew. And that was the region that we migrated to the far western Horn of Africa, because it was the only place that we could go that was not hostile to us. And Abba Yah led us there, young brothers and sisters. And that's where we stayed for hundreds, if not thousands of years. We were there for a long time. Until the heathens got together, the European heathens, the Arab heathens, and the African heathens, who told them where we were, came into our land again and put chains on us and put us on slave ships that were financed by the Khazarian, the fake ones, who claim to be us but are not, who financed what the Arabs and the Africans were doing. And that's how we ended up here in the islands, and many of us in South America, especially Brazil. And here, again, from Central America all the way through Northern America. There were some spots we had, there were natives in some of those lands. I don't want to make you believe that those lands did not have. I'm just saying we end up in, that's where we had to, in the selling of our ancestors, those are the places that we landed. So if you look at a place like Mexico, for example, there are Israelite Mexicans, believe it or not, but they're not the pale-skinned ones. And they were in a small region because the Mexicans were slaughtering our people in Mexico, just like the Europeans were slaughtering our people right here. And had Abba Yah not blessed us and had sent some of our people into Mexico doing some of those wars down there, would have been none of our people left in Mexico. But we're there. We're everywhere. The book said he would scatter us throughout the whole earth. So don't think it's strange that somehow or another, you could be, attracted to Africa. But being attracted to Africa, young brothers and sisters, it just means that, as much as you have learned about that part of the culture, and as much as you have learned to integrate yourself into that part of the culture, that's like a fly, on an elephant's ass as far as the entirety of who you are. You are Israelites. Yes, we were in Africa for a time. And then when the Africans got tired of us being there, they did what history said they did. They came into our land and they declared war upon our people. And so they took and enslaved our people, or captured our people, and then sold our people off to the enslavers, the Europeans, the Arabs, and, those other folk over there who called themselves Jews. But they're not us. You are an Israelite. You are a chosen people from Abba Yah. You are a set-apart people. You're the most precious individual on the earth, young brothers and young sisters, and the older ones too, if you're listening to this message. There is nothing better than you that was created. Nothing. You're better than the Hamites. I know you say, well, weren't they created? Yeah, the Hamites and the Canaanites, yeah, they were created by Abba Yah, but they were not chosen by Abba Yah. That's why they had to come to their other gods. That's why, Horus and Ra and some of these other gods that you learned about. Thor, Zeus, and all of these other entities. Because they did not have Abba Yah. They did not have Yahuwah, our creator. So they had to come up with their own. Out of jealousy, I might add, because they saw the power of ours, but they, even in seeing the power of ours, they knew that theirs was inferior. So in order to be able to promote theirs, they had to find a way to demote ours. And how did they do that? By pushing Islam, pushing Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, and there's a few other, Judaism. All of that was to marginalize us, to elevate themselves, and to turn our people against their own Abba Yah. And they succeeded in that. And if you're over there, sister and brother, you're still under that seduction. But they were able to conquer us by turning us away from who we were as the chosen people of Abba Yah, Israel. Go back and read Isaiah 43. I can give you so much more. But just read Isaiah 43. And you'll see what your brother is talking about. Go look into the so-called apocryphal books and hidden books, and you're going to really see yourself. Again, you heard me talk about the book of Joshua in our Bible study, and if you had seen the whole event that went on as Jacob died, and then what he commanded or instructed his sons to do, and their sons to do, you would understand the way they celebrated, the way they bombed him, the way they sent him. You would know that is your people. There will be no question in your mind that was talking about you, because we still practice those same customs to this very day. But many of our young people don't know that because it was hidden from us. And so many of you, I understand, you were like, well, I know good and so well, I'm not bowing down and serving no damn white man. And you are 100% right, because I'm like you. I'm going to say it right off. I'd rather eat my own feces than to bow down to one of them dirty, rotten, enslaving, bitter, jealous, envious devil dogs. Yeah, I said it. We don't bow down to them. We only bow to our Yah, our Creator, and we serve and love one another as Israelites, the chosen. But if you go to Isaiah 43, young brothers and sisters, you will see this. It's very clear. But you can't stop there. You got to go into your own book. Because, see, they had taught us to study African history, many of you. And that's why you're there. And you know all about African history. I understand. It's a proud history. It's an enriched history. But it was still a history of heathens who targeted your ancestors, enslaved your ancestors, and ultimately sold them out to the other heathens. And that's how you ended up all over this flat earth. That's how many of you ended up in those islands, our ancestors. And that's why many of us ended up in the Americas, whether it be South America, Central, or North America, and punch beyond. And here's what I'll present to you. If you think, the Islam history is a rich and beautiful history, then let me share this with you. Go to the Tanakh and learn about the Israelite history. I just told you, one of our forefathers, when they buried him in a solid gold coffin. Solid gold. They put a golden crown on his head in death. A golden scepter in his hand, like something that says, this is a seal of a man of Yah. They laced inside of this coffin with all kind of fine gold trimmings, linings, perfume, sweet flowers, olive, I think that's the way you say that plant. But perfume all on the road. Everybody came to celebrate. Y'all know how we do. Everybody was out there, came to pay respects to him. Because they knew who we were. And then guess what? They paid respect to his sons because they knew who they were. And all of that information, brothers and sisters, are right here sitting in a book that they told you some white man wrote, as though he didn't write the books you're studying. Of course, they all attribute it to some black-sounding name, some African-sounding name. But to the victors goes the spoil. So they can rewrite anything and put names on that to entice you. Because again, for them to conquer our people, they had to get our people to serve their Elohims, to practice their religions. Yet our book told us, do not learn the ways of the heathens. That's Jeremiah chapter 10. I think around verse 1, 2, 3, and 4. Learn not their ways. And so I say to you, my dear brothers and sisters, whatever history that caused you to become or to want to become or be a part of Islam, whether it's that thing that Farrakhan and them are doing or some other thing that's going on, they can't hold a candle to who you really are. Be honest with you, you'll lower your standards by becoming a Muslim. But now you're worshiping rocks and stones and walls and out in Mecca and all kind of stuff. Our book tells us we don't serve nothing built with the hands of men. No stones, no wood. Not for us. The Ankh and all that foolishness they got on, we're not supposed to have that on, brothers and sisters. Believe it or not, that takes the power of Abba Yah away from you. That doesn't bring the power to you. That's the lie they tell. If Islam was so powerful, here's one for you. Why is most of Africa is Islam, Muslims? Well, you tell me if it's not, one of the poorest countries on this planet. Continents on this planet. I'm talking about Africa. Everything Africa look for, they have to go beg the heathens for. Even now, to this very day. Oh, we need to work with Germany so they can bring their technology. We need to go to Russia so that they can give us their weaponry. We need to go to China so they can help us build the Belt Road, our infrastructure. Does that sound like a land that's blessed of Abba Yah to you? And if their gods are gods, then why are they living in such a horrible state? Most of them. There are a few elite over there. But why is most of the people some of the poorest people on this earth? Because the gods that they're trying to convince you to serve, they're not Elohim. They're gods made with the hands of men. They're gods that the fallen ones came down and told them, this is how you compete against Israel. If you want to hear Israel, you gotta deceive them. You got to change the book. You got to tell them, there's a better book for them called the New Testament. And you got to tell them that their book is done away with, the Tanakh, or what they call the Old Testament. And then you got to tell them, that they're part of Africa. That they were African Americans and they were this and they were that and they were mighty people. And a long time ago they had great kingdoms, while those same people who are telling these lies are living high on the hog, as they say. So what they're doing, my brothers and sisters, they got our people stagnant by looking at something that happened centuries ago under the guise that somehow or another, if you're living that far in the past, that enriches you today. No, our Abba Yah said he wants you blessed today. Their gods to have no promise for them in the next life. That's the lie they tell. They stole even that from us. Eternity and the blessings that Abba Yah has for those of us who love him. Talking about you, young brothers and sisters, Israelites. You were given royalty at your birth. So much so that the creator of the universe singled you out. All of us, our people out. Israel. He left a rich history written for us. Again, in a book. Yeah. So true. And it's all about you. They lied. I know they lied and told you, the white man wrote that and the white man. Well, if you're over there reading in the New Testament, then you're reading their doctrine. That is their replacement theology. They put that as a snare and a trap. So they knew that you would never know who you were if you were reading about, dead men as your redeemers. Even as they're telling you to worship those dead men, these African entities, so-called gods. But do you know that your Abba Yah is a living Elohim? That no man could ever replace, no man could ever kill? That would be an impossibility. That's no way that can happen. And he spells it out clearly for you, young brothers and sisters. But you got to put away the Quran. You got to put away all that other stuff that you're reading. And then pick up a book that's actually about you. That celebrates you. That identifies you. That explains to you all the things that you're never going to find about you, because those are books for the dead. The Quran, those are the books of the dead. The Tanakh is a living word. The Tanakh is for those who are alive. And you're alive, dear brother. Maybe in the darkness, sisters, but you're alive. You are the apple of Abba Yah's eye. You are the set apart. He loved you so much that he set you apart. He identified you, said, no, they are mine. They are the chosen of mine. And let me read this for you real. Just give you just a small taste. Because I know some of you are going to come now. I know you were hesitant, or you really thought this book was about the heathens. All this book has to say for the heathen is that Yah's going to judge them, he's going to enslave them, and the rest of them, he's going to burn them, and he's going to get rid of their wicked asses. That's all it says about them. They wouldn't have written a book that talks about them that bad. Abba Yah is all over them in this book, brothers and sisters. How's the old saying? He's tearing them a new ass in this book. They would have never written a book like that exposed them. No way. They had nothing to do with the writing of the Tanakh. They had everything to do right with the New Testament. That is, those are their, and anybody that's teaching you that stuff, they are deceived. They are lost as the day can be long. They're desperately seeking Susan. I'm sorry, desperately seeking Jesus. We don't have to seek anything. We are it. You are bloodline bought in. You were born to do this thing. It's not about a belief system. Islam, that's something you have to become a part of. This is what you are. You are Israel. You could be an Israelite practicing Islam, or an Israelite practicing Hinduism, or Israelite practicing Buddhism, or whatever ism, but you're still an Israelite. You could be an Israelite that's an atheist, but you're still an Israelite. That's a birthright. And you should never abdicate your birthright for some phase or some lie or some imitation of what is real. Why do you have to fake being them when you could be originally yourself? You're so precious before the eyes of Abba Yah. You're full of, how will you call this? The fountain of youth. You're full of it. That melanin in your skin, you're full of it. And I know you'll say, well, what about the other darker races on earth? Yeah, they have melanin too. But see, their melanin, in terms of how Abba Yah placed you as the head and not the tail, that would be, if you don't mind me saying, young brothers and sisters, think about the most expensive cognac you can think of. The only one that comes to my mind is Louis XIII. I think a bottle of Louis XIII could be, I don't know, thousands of dollars versus a bottle of Hennessy Privilege. One you can get for $50 off the shelf. The other is going to cost you thousands of dollars. Still Hennessy, but it's not the same thing. They have melanin, talking about the other darker races, but they're not prime stock. They're not shelf. They're not top shelf. Your melanin is so precious that they set up Planned Parenthood clinics all through your communities to get that melanin from the unborn amongst us. Because see this melanin that's in your skin? Some call it black gold. When you compare that melanin in your skin to gold, gold sells right now $50 a gram. The melanin in your skin, this is the accurate number, $455 a gram. The average human. Let me take it a little further, young brothers and sisters. You, melanated human, Israelite human, not Canaanite, not Hamite, not Islamite, none of that stuff. No, not them. I'm talking about you. If you're practicing that, you're just doing another man's thing instead of doing your own thing. But in your own things, what I'm saying to you is that the average one of us made up about 62,000 grams of melanin. I looked it up. The average human body, Israelite, melanated body, 62,000 grams. At $455 a gram, that would place your net worth about $28 million, about $27,790,000, give or take, on average. One of us is worth almost $28 million to the heathens. Why you think they can't wait to get their hands on us? Why you think they're inviting you into their religion? Because they know how precious you are. You bring the life to their religion. Islam is dead without the Israelite over there. Every religion is dead without that, because we're the ones who bring the energy, the celebration, the enthusiasm, the light. They're dead without us. But, Satan is clever. The fallen ones are very clever. Satan is more than one, by the way. That's just the title, like man, woman. But he's clever. And he knows in order for them to stay in power, they got to steal our children. They've always gone after our children. But our job as your elders is to come back to you and say, no, come home. We need you. You are us. You are our babies. And we do love you, those of us who are in our right minds. Those of us who are still over there in the darkness, Abba Yah say he got a plan for them in time. 2/3 of them are going to get destroyed. So I'm surely not defending the Israelite heathens who want to practice idolatry by practicing those heathen religions. And I don't want you to be a part of that. I know you were looking for Yah. I know you were looking for your creator. I know you were looking for, the true Elohim to believe in. And I know we were taught lies and you were taught those same lies. But now your brother's coming and telling you, no, here's your truth. Here is your truth. You are an Israelite. Written all through the Tanakh, all through a Torah. You even have laws to help you be the best that you can be. Your own laws. Just for us. For you. You have apocryphal books that was hidden from you so that you would know how rich your history is, as you heard your brother share, as I talked about readings in the book of Jasher on our most recent Bible study. And you're welcome to join us, young men and young women. We have young men and women. We have 21-year-olds, 25-year-olds, and not just one or two. We have several. And for you olders who are still learning and growing, that's room for you here too. Our book says in the last days, Abba Yah would increase the knowledge, that our knowledge would increase, that those books that they hear from us, those books would now be brought back to us, and those books will be open, and then he will send messengers, servants like myself, to reveal that to his people. So that they would know who they were, and more important, know who their Abba Yah is, their real father. But the whole book is about you. That's how great your history is. And your history goes much farther than Africa. You're the original man and woman. All of us, Israelites. Yeah, there were others who came. Again, Noah had 3 sons. We can't deny it. There are other melanated people. But they weren't chosen. You were. So what we're saying to you, my brothers and sisters, my young brothers and sisters, our children, who we love and honor and respect, at least those of us in our right minds, I realize you're around a whole bunch of chicken heads, male and female. We get it. I get it. I wouldn't. Some of them are so wicked. I'm talking about these ones who are teaching these lies of Christianity. Some of them are so wicked, I wouldn't pee on them if they were on fire. That's how your elder feels about them. So I'm not one of them. I'm one of you. You're one of me. But it is time for you to come into your true inheritance, your true, place amongst the kings, the royalty. And this is that time. So yes, we respect and we honor the fact that you were looking for Abba Yah. And so you went there, or you went to this religion because they had purpose there. You saw people that looked like you there, even though they were not you. We get it. I get it. But now that you know who you are, we challenge you to come into your own truth. You don't need somebody else's religion. You don't need another nation's religion. You have your own truth. They have religion. You have relationship. Being an Israelite is having a relationship with the Creator. It's not about religions, customs. Again, it's bloodline. And we love you and we want you back. And we will do everything in our power. This video is a part of that, to encourage you to come back. He has a lot of false teachers, a lot of people out there lying, saying, okay, I get it. And again, I wouldn't want to serve them. I served them. I taught for those heathens for years in my ignorance. But we're in the last days. And he did say he would wake us up. And now we're awake. And now he's telling us to tell my people, come back home. Because we're at the end of time, not the beginning. You may be at the beginning of your life, but we're at the end of man's time, young brother, young sister. You don't want to get caught on the wrong side of the settlement when it gets settled. When Abba Yah comes down here to settle the score for all the wickedness that has happened to your people, including the wickedness that those Africans did, because they were a part of the wickedness too. I'm not talking about the Israelites that are in Africa. I said, many of our people are in Africa. But Africa as a continent, they were always hostile to us. And many of them still are, young brother and sister. these Muslims and all of those, that's replacement theology, religion, to try to offset who you were. But now that you know, there's no reason to stay over there. You have your own rich culture. You have your own rich heritage. And you have your own Elohim. You don't need their gods. You have one. But the difference between your God and their God, our Elohim is the creator of everything. The ultimate Elohim. They got to come up with rituals and things you got to do. You got to go to Mecca and you got to go do this. And you got to pray to the east and all this kind of stuff. And wear this kind of drab and that thing. All these things they do. You got to get you a rug. All that stuff. Our Abba don't require any of that. He just wants your heart. And obedience as it relates to the law, statutes, and commandments. But we don't have to do those traditions, those ceremonies. We're not a part of that. That's what they need to stimulate their gods. Our Abba don't need stimulating. He's the stimulator. So that being said, I was going to get into the book of Jeremiah, but I would challenge you, young brothers and sisters, read Jeremiah chapter 23. One of our dear sisters brought this to my attention earlier today, and just out of respect of time, I didn't want this message to go long because this is something I believe that Abba gave me as an extra bonus, and said that, you know what, just share with them from the heart. Speak to your young people from the heart, Brother DFG. So I'm speaking to you from the heart. It's still Abba truth. But read Jeremiah chapter 23. Then go back and read Isaiah chapter 43. And then read Jeremiah chapter 10. And you'll see, he told us, don't learn the ways of the heathen. They're not us. We're not them. And if they're not Israel, they're heathens. Doesn't matter if they have melanin in their skin. They weren't chosen, but you were. So I hope this message, at least cause you to consider, young brothers and sisters. I hope this message, penetrates your heart. And if anything, young brothers and sisters, this is all in the selling of this conversation. All I ask you to do is be as smart as you actually are. Be as smart as you say you are. Just like you research and you learned about Islam, how about coming back and researching and learning about Israel? And then compare and contrast. And then see which one of those two best represents you. You'll see it. You'll see it. But at least consider giving yourself a chance. Because you have everything to gain, nothing to lose. But staying over there, this old saying that goes something like this. It's like putting money in bags with holes in it. If you look at the continent over there, it's no denying, if their God is God, then he's a shit God. I'm talking about the Canaanites and the Hamites. I'm not talking about the Israelites over there. So if some of my brothers and sisters, if you're in Africa, you're an Israelite, then I'm not talking to you. So I'm in America, but you don't hear me boasting about no America. America is a shit country too. Bunch of heathens, murderous, slaughtering pig and dogs. And everything else in between, if I didn't say it. So I'm not going to defend no lands or no heathens, and I'm not going to defend no Africa, neither should you. Defend your people. But that being said, I'm going to leave it at that. Yah willing, we'll be back tomorrow, my brothers and sisters, and we'll be going over the Bible study from Wednesday night, Yah willing, or whatever else he leads us to. But at the end of the day, Brother Muhammad, I hope this helps. You young brothers and sisters who know Brother Muhammad, give it at least, just go in, just study for yourself. Just give yourself, you're intelligent, you're smart. Why limit your knowledge? It can't hurt you to learn more. Am I correct? But the difference, I'm telling you, you're here. Excuse me 1 second, brothers and sisters. You're here. You have a rich history right here. And if you stick with this channel, You'll learn more because that's what we do here. We teach Israel about Israel. We teach Israel about our Father, our Abba, our Yahuwah, the sovereign one. Oh, the jealous one too. He loves you enough that he's jealous. And that's why he allowed these heathens to overtake us and beat us down, because he's jealous. Because he didn't want us serving their gods, including Islam, Muhammad, Allah, whomever they got over there these days. All right? And that's I'm not disrespecting you. I'm just calling that out. I understand how you got there. Our job is to try to persuade you to at least consider who you are, so that maybe you'll come out. It's your decision. But you can't blame us for trying, because we love you and you're our children. DFG, talk to you soon. Bye now.